What's going on, good people? This is Milton Spence here with Milt's Coaching Corner. I just want to say thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate each and every person that gives me the opportunity to be able to present to you all, be able to talk to you guys, and not only that, just have the flavor in your ear, if you will. I must say, this is one of those episodes that I am particularly happy with already because of what it is. The topic on today is overcoming your obstacles. Overcoming your obstacles and challenges. How do we do that? How do we overcome our obstacles and challenges? Very loaded question. And I think it has a lot more to do with how do we overcome our obstacles, which is limiting beliefs, antisocial behavior to self, and being able to construct a mindset that has nothing to do with the environment around us. How do we overcome ourselves? How do we overcome the obstacles around us? And how do we deconstruct limiting beliefs? How do we put ourselves in positions not only to win, but to do and to be places that we must be in order to do what it is that we must do? How do we do that? Well, I must say that it is one of those questions that I am going to have a hard time answering for you, because I know and you know that at the end of the day, the ultimate is you. The ultimate is your pain, your fears, your structure, your mentality. The ultimate is the things that you are willing to do in order to overcome your challenges and obstacles. The ways that you are willing to construct yourself and to pick yourself up by, I don't want to say bootstraps, because that in itself implies something else that we struggle with. That also ties into, like our bias and our racial mentality here in the West, at least in America. So I know for a fact that you are looking for answers. And I know that I will work with you in order to get those answers. But I do not believe by the end of this podcast, you will have the answer you're looking for unless you're willing to stare that being, that person in the mirror and say, what is it that maybe Milton mentioned or did not mention that is my limiting belief? What is it that I am doing to rather hurt or help myself? I must say, one of my limiting beliefs out here in this world is the fact that I'm afraid that I can do something. I'm afraid of my own shadow in a lot of ways. And I believe that is because my shadow is big, and so is the gate of self. So am I. It's one of those things where I know for a fact that I can do a lot of great things, but I don't know how I can do it, and I don't know where I can do it, and I don't know which capacity it's going to come out, and I don't understand everything about it. So some parts of me shy away from it because of that, because I know for the best part of my life, it has been the fight against obstacles that were presented to me by other people. Then that turned into the obstacles that were presented to me by me. But where the limiting beliefs came from is because people placed their obstacles on me and I would defeat them. And then my shadow would get that much bigger. My strength will become that much brighter. Right? And when I look around, I find myself in a position, in a place where it has come to me that I can't overcome myself. I can't overcome those limiting beliefs because I too don't believe that I exist in a space and a place where I am doing better than I once was, and I am doing better than I am in this position that I currently am. I know some things that we talk about or that we, think about more so come from a spot of, how do I constantly have to fight? Why do I constantly have a challenge? Why do I constantly, like, do you ever just get tired of yourself in a sense where, like, I constantly go through stuff? And then you have to wonder, am I going through these things, or am I setting myself up to sabotage myself? Am I going through these things, or am I really just going in a cycle because I keep doing it? Well, I have to say this. I believe a lot of us develop, whether we're gonna depend on the fight side of ourselves or the flight side of ourselves, very early in our lives. And because of this, we, in some form or fashion, build up this cognitive dissonance to the point where we are eluded and diluted into believing that we are okay. We are okay with things going awry. We are fine that we're not okay. Like we're okay being sick, And I think what has to happen is that we have to understand that the limiting beliefs and the challenges that we face from others that turn into challenges or self-challenges have to also answer the call of, am I ready to be who I am? Am I gonna be who I am? Or am I constantly just gonna rely on the fact that I have limiting beliefs and challenges? Am I constantly just gonna be the person who makes excuses? If that's gonna be me, then let that be you. But don't look around and talk about everything happening to you at that point. If you're gonna be the one that makes excuses, don't turn around and talk about everything happening to you, because it's not happening to you. You're happening to yourself. You're doing it. You're opening up those gateways. And I believe the way you close them is by overcoming them with the ability to have a weakness, understanding it, growing from it, and then it becoming a strength due to you flexing the muscle that you have built inside of you. I believe there's a lot of us who have muscles, right? Spiritual muscles, physical muscles that are built within us. And what happens is we are also bound to repeating the very same incidents, the very same things that we think are for us in the sense of, our own mentality, how we handle situations, what we do here, how we handle this here, what we are going to do, what plans we got, and da-da-da-da-da. But really, we have to make sure that these things aren't aligned with self-sabotage. We may be sabotaging our own future through even our own plans for ourselves because we are afraid of our own shadow. We are afraid to come into ourselves and be the person we're meant to be. And the reason we're afraid of that person because we know that person's big. And we also know that the larger that person gets, the larger the obstacles. So sometimes we minimize ourselves because we don't necessarily want to go through no more. We don't want to fight through no more. We want to be okay just being okay. We want to be able to sit and loathe and not have to think. And I'm telling you, man, I've been through it all. And one thing that I can say, that I know I can say, is that I have, in particular, come to a space and a place in my life where I no longer am scared of my shadow. I'm scared for my shadow. Here's what I mean. In order for a shadow to be cast, there has to be some form of light upon you. The light that is upon me, by my belief, is God. That's the light that's upon me. The light that's upon you is whatever it is for you. Me, I believe is God for everybody, and I believe it's God for me. But nevertheless, the light that's upon me, what God is showing me, is that He shines on me so that I can see myself through His vision by seeing my shadow how he sees me, but also I get the benefit of being able to live within the very body that I'm observing, becoming larger and bigger based upon the challenges that I am finishing right there in my face. So because of this, I sometimes will look back at God and say, okay, I see how big my shadow is getting. I see the strength that I have, which is my true self. I see it. I don't want no more. I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to do this no more. Lord, help me not to do this no more. God, take me out of this. And sometimes we're looking for the shadow to do the work. And I know, you guys heard of shadow work. I'm not talking about it. But we're looking for the shadow to do the work. But the shadow is dependent upon how we actually look to God. So there has to be a divine purpose. There has to be a divine order. And there has to be a divine belief, a mineral, a thing that grows, right? A thing that takes us to the next level. There has to be. And because there is, and because there has to be, we have to be careful that we are believing things about ourselves that the light never cast upon us, never showed us about ourselves. We have to be able to trust that the light is going to be a light. We have to be able to trust that God is God. And if we trust or we believe that we were created for a specific purpose, which if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, that's majority of what this is about or on. But if we were created to do a certain thing and be a certain person, then we also would understand that we must not run from that. We must face that. We must do that. We must be that individual. Because if we are not going to be that individual, all we're going to do and all we're going to be is the person we never wanted to be in the first place. We always wanted to, be the superhero. We were raised on that. If you think about it, every cartoon, everything we ever watched, there's a superhero. There's a good. And regardless if you believe it or not, you want to be the good. You want to be the victor. Most people want to win. So because of that, we sometimes will lie to ourselves in order to win based upon not going through, not dealing with. And what that does to you and for you is nothing, because your shadow is only a reflection of the light that is casted upon you. Your shadow is only a reflection of the light that is cast upon you. Now, if that light goes from you and there's darkness, there is no shadow at that point. You're just in the dark. But if the light is shining on you, then you can see well beyond your thoughts, understanding. You understand light. You understand shining on you. You understand shadow being cast. And you also understand that it's going to reflect the very nature of you, because it's the light that's shining through you. Not just on you, it's through you. That is why. So we have the challenges that we face from within. We have the challenges that have been cast upon us as well to try to destroy that shadow. And normally the things that are cast upon us to destroy that shadow are dark. Whether it be through a family member, whether it be through, whomever. If you understand that you will forever be limited to the level, the realm that you exist, then you understand the need to climb higher. The higher you get, the more, yes, darkness will want to come and destroy you because you're growing higher. But the higher you get, the more you get to stomp on that darkness's head. The stronger you get, the more you get to smash away the darkness, keeping out the things, the darkness that keeps out the light. You want to be able to put everything you have into everything you are, and never look back, never return to a place or a space where the darkness is, no longer serving you. It's not doing anything for you. The light is the one that you should be going after. So in order to do that, in order to overcome yourself, in order to overcome the challenges that are within, I believe wholeheartedly that you have to come to a realization that you doing and you being the person that you're meant to be, that means you are now an enemy. You are, and you will have a fight on your hands, because everything good, everything great in you, if you think about the people who've come in your life, or if you think about the things that have happened to you, you can agree, and I can agree, that these people, or persons, if you will, tried to destroy you, man. They tried to snatch out everything that was good in you, because if they could do that, if they could succeed in that, then they also could succeed in the factor of misery needing company, and in the fact of you not being yourself anymore and being a threat. As much that comes against you in the challenges that you face in this life, as much as that comes against you, you need not surround yourself with people who will only feed off the sabotage that you give yourself either. So I'm spitting a lot of things right now that aren't just subject based in the sense of one thing, but it has so many nuances to it, because there's a lot to this that I'm praying that you all understand. The beliefs and the challenges and the limited beliefs are all coexisting in this space that we call Earth. This is why you have some people who achieve and some people just deceive. If you're not achieving, then you are either A, lazy, or you're deceiving us. And achievement does not mean money. Achieving means to conquer oneself, to have self-control, to limit oneself to a space and an ability to be able to not only care for yourself, not only be there for yourself, but also to be there for others, in the sense that you have not forsaken yourself and giving yourself away to misnomers and a contrite heart and spirit. Here to tell you now, there's a lot of you who have gone through hell and hot water, and you've taken up shield and buckler to try to fight against your enemy, the darkness, but you haven't won, and you're looking to win. The problem with that is that you're looking to win a war. Look for the battles. The battles are important. The battles win the war. But the problem is, some of you are trying to go at that battle with 100%, right? And you're fighting the battle, misguided. You have no intelligence of what you're doing. You're just going in there and swinging and hoping to come out victorious. You're 100%. Now, when I said that, notice I said it before, the nuance thing. So you could be 100% wrong. It also is a thing where if you are putting yourself in position to not only disbelieve the fact that there is a problem, but also putting yourself in a position to discredit yourself in the problem. Understanding self is how you overcome challenges, obstacles, fears. Because if you understand yourself, and you will look at yourself and you say, look, self, we need to stop being so afraid. We need to do this because this and that. It should take nobody else for real to come behind you and do it. Now, do we do it? Yeah. I said it shouldn't take. Because you should have so much self-control, so much self-awareness that you are not allowed to do anything outside of what it is that you are happy with and what it is that you know for a fact that you want to do. And I think so many of us have fallen into contrite hearts and spirits because we are afraid of accepting the God thing within us. The Spirit doesn't lie, doesn't return void. So there are things within you that you're scared of. Why? Why are you afraid? Is it because you may end up being in the limelight? May end up having more eyes on you? Is it because what you have to do calls for you to leave your comfortable situation? Is it because that you don't have fear, but you're just anxious, and so you can't wait? You can't take the steps in order to become who you are, so you got to rush the process. And now you got to rush the process. Are you that person? Are you the person who sits back on their hands and waits for things to drop down in their lap? Are you that person? I'm here to tell you, it don't matter the person you are. What matters essentially is the belief that you will get out of it, and the work and the efforts to get out of it. And as far as your calling is concerned, what you're meant to do in this life, you understand that it is your duty and your job to give it away to your fellow mankind. It is not your duty to hold. It is not your ability to be a steel trap or a steel door. It is your ability to be vulnerable and understand that you no longer have the strength to be able to divorce yourself from the property that which is not even yours, your calling, your purpose. You literally you were literally given it through God, right? You were given it through God, and He was able to lift you up and say, you're going to be this. You're going to do this here on earth. And you came down here and you begin to disobey that order because you were afraid. Imagine most of us who really knew who we were. If you really knew who you were, would you run to it? Would you run from it? Guess it depends, right? A lot of factors there. I'm here to tell you, don't run from it. Don't run from yourself. Your obstacles, the things that you have to do, the ways that you have to be, I promise you this. There's a lot of men and women out here who have the ability to be able to do things that I can't even fathom, that I can't even tell you how, right? It's bigger than where I am, It's bigger than who I am. But I'm looking at those things and I'm like, wow, why should I be intimidated by anything? Because they're not limited. Per observation, make that clear. They're not limited. What they are, though, regardless of what I pick up, what they are is a people, a person, a thing, a human, or whatever. They don't take no for an answer. They literally go throughout their life going for it, going for the right thing, doing the right thing, having practical sense, having the ability to be able to look at a problem and actually solve it versus argue a problem to sleep. We have to pay attention to the people who want to influence us to go against ourselves. Because when we do that, when we go against ourselves, all we do is crack the egg over our own head and we watch it spill down, and we go stand in the sun and it gets hot and the egg gets sticky and maybe it starts to fry on our head. So we hope. But in reality, why would you want to do that to yourself? What are you trying to prove? Who are you really? So I look at these things and I think on these things when it comes down to the mental capacity of a child in a man's body, right? How does this person learn their purpose if they don't even understand themselves, or if they're very childish to who and what they are? And I figure that these people don't understand and learn themselves due to the fact that they are comfortable being in the skin that they're in, doing it in the time that they want, and operating in a space and a time where you don't have to be much. You just have to be clever enough to take advantage of this and that. And maybe that person's chasing that, but not realizing that it still takes it still takes a backing for you to be able to go out and do the things that you really want to do. It takes a backing. It takes a backing. And my backing is God. That's my light. You choose your backing. You do whatever it is you want to do. You follow who you want to follow, but you got to have a backing. And mine is Jesus. Mine is God. You got to have a backing. And I tell you the truth. There's a lot of men and women out here who are never going to reach it. And I hope and pray that YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, I pray you guys spread this message, because it is important that people get to a space and a place and a time where they will no longer depend on the ramifications of another person. They will no longer depend on something how to rile them up. They have to use something to struggle. They're not going to depend on the struggle, whether it's through self, whether it is through self, which is most important, or whether it's through anything else other than self. They're not gonna do it. They're gonna be better than that, and they're gonna circumvent the process by going at it head on and not facing it from an angle and thinking that this is the clever way to do it. Whatever it is that you were meant to do has already picked you to. Has already picked you. Has already been placed on you. It's just waiting on you. And at some point throughout the life, some point, we disintegrate. We leave here. We leave here. We fertilize the grass, if that's the way you want to go. And if you spend another waking moment of your life looking around, wondering what's going to happen, don't. Understand what's happening around you. But look at yourself and fix and hold yourself to a standard and accountability that has nothing to do but with nothing that has come from your own head. Thank you all. I appreciate you for allowing me to share these moments, share this time, this knowledge, this peace in this place, because it is imperative that we look out for each other. And it's also imperative that we continue to spread the good word, spread the good message. And I believe the message tonight is very simple and clear. In order to get over your abilities to fail, to get over yourself, to get over your obstacles, your challenges, the hunt, the physical, the mental, in order to get over, you have to face it head on. And you have to tell it, whatever the weakness is, that it has no place with you. And it doesn't mean you go out acting as if that you've gotten over it, but you do the work, face it head on to get over it and quote unquote, get rid of it. Take yourself to the next level. Take yourself to a new level. Praise God. Take yourself to a new level and stop playing around with your destiny. Do what it is that you're called to do and move along. Okay? Much love. God bless you all. I appreciate you. I thank you. And most of all, I asked if you could, please share this out. Share my podcast out if you would. If you would have me, I would appreciate it. Much love. God bless. And may God continue to keep you and shine countenance upon you and your family. In Jesus' name.